Hey guys, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word tools? Well, for me, it's this, a hammer. But do I really know how to use one? Today we're going to talk about the different types of hammers and how to use them. So hit that like and subscribe button and I'll see you right after this. Now we're going to start off with a 16-ounce claw hammer, the one you're probably most familiar with, to discuss the anatomy of a hammer. Now obviously this is the claw that you use to pull the nails out. Now this area right here is called the eye of the hammer. And if it's a wooden hammer, you'd see the wood right here that would be flush with the metal of the hammer. This right here is called the neck of the hammer. This area right here is called the check of the hammer. This area right here is called the pole of the hammer. That's P-O-L-L. And this area is the face of the hammer. Now this hammer right here is called a framing hammer or a ripping hammer. And if you notice, the claw is not as curved as the regular claw hammer we talked about earlier. As you can see, it's pretty straight on the back end. Now, if you're framing houses or doing anything like that, this is pretty good because it's more hefty and you can use it to rip apart wood much easier. Now, if you notice right here, this says AntiRing Claw. What is that? Well, it just means that this claw is supposed to reduce the noise or the ringing that you hear when you strike a nail or hardened objects. Also, this model was designed to hold the nail in place magnetically while you strike it in the material. Now, if you don't want to leave any marks on your work like you would with those metal hammers, you want to get one of these, a rubber mallet. As you can see, it's made of rubber and it delivers a softer impact on your work without leaving any marks. Now, this colorful thing right here is called a soft face hammer. It has a plastic end and a rubber end. And oh yeah, this is the eye of the hammer that I spoke of earlier with the wood sticking out. Well, it's not sticking out, it's flush, as you can see. If you don't want to damage the wood on that beautiful piece of furniture you just made, you want to use one of these to tap the nails in. Now, if you're a mason or you're into laying bricks, this right here comes in pretty handy. It's called a mason's hammer. And as you can see, one end is shaped like the face of a hammer and the other end is shaped like a chisel. You use the chisel end to cut bricks when you're doing that fancy brickwork. So if you want to cut a brick with a mason's hammer, first take a sharp object or use the chisel on the hammer to score the line where you want to cut. In this case, we'll make a rough cut right down the middle. Then place your chisel on the cut line. Take a hammer and hit the face of the mason hammer. There you go. Right in half. Now, if you work with metal, you're probably familiar with this, the ball peen hammer. They're also called a machinist's hammer or an engineer's hammer. It has a flat end on one face and it's rounded on the other, like a ball. Now, the head of a ball peen hammer is harder than that of a claw hammer, and that would make sense because you are shaping metal like hardened steel. They're also used to drive chisels and set rivets. So before they had these nail guns, they had these. First, they would use the flat side to drive the rivet in. Then they would use the rounded side to peen over or round off the edges of the rivet head. Now this little guy right here is called a tack hammer or an upholster's hammer. The small face on this hammer is used to drive tacks and upholstery work. But this end of the hammer is the interesting part. It's magnetized to hold tacks, but why is it split like that? So I did some research to find out, and it's pretty interesting what I found. Apparently, the split creates two magnets, allowing the north and south poles of both magnets to create a more powerful magnet. It also keeps the opposite end, the nailing end right here, neutral. So I have a nail, not a tack, unfortunately, just to show you that it is magnetized. And you use this side to start the tack in and this side to drive it in. Now this oddly shaped hammer right here is called a drywall hammer. And if you notice, the face of it is what you call knurled. And this knurled pattern allows you to have a better grip on the nail when you're hitting it into drywall. The axe-shaped or hatchet-shaped edge, well, that's simply for cutting the drywall when you have to. And last but not least, you got the old-fashioned sledgehammer. Now this is a 10-pound sledgehammer, and you got, smaller versions like this 4-pound sledgehammer right here. Now these are sometimes called dead blow hammers too. Now when you need to bring out the big guns and break up some concrete or drive some posts in the ground, you want one of these right here. A good old-fashioned sledgehammer. Okay guys, let's talk about some safety tips when it comes to handling a hammer. Now you first want to use the right hammer for the right job. So you don't want to use a claw hammer on your upholstery. You want to use a tack hammer. You don't want to use a sledgehammer when you're framing a house. You want to use a framing hammer. You also want to inspect the handle on your hammers to make sure they're not broken or loose, because if the head of this hammer comes flying off, it can really hurt somebody. Now when you're first starting a nail, you want to hold the hammer closer to the hammer head. But if you need more power, hold the handle closer to the end of the handle. Now if you don't have a magnetic hammer that can hold the nail for you like that, place your fingers closer to the top of the nail when you're holding it. Because if you hold it down here and you miss with that hammer, guess what? I don't need to tell you how much pain you're going to be in. Then take your hammer and hold it in the middle of the handle and tap lightly on the nail until it can stand on its own. If you have a really small nail, there's a couple of tricks you can use. You can use a piece of cardboard to help stand the nail up on its own without your hand in the way. You can use a bobby pin or a paper clip or something of that sort to hold the nail in, and then you tap it in from there, start it in, and then you can let it go. And if the wood that you're nailing into is pretty hard, because they have some hard woods out there, you can drill a pilot hole first and then tap your nail in. So here's that cardboard trick I was talking about. First, you get a piece of cardboard, get a knife or scissors, and then you make a cut in the cardboard, like so. Then you take your nail, stick it in that cut, like that. Then place it over where you want to put the nail. Take your hammer, pull the cardboard away, and there you go. Started your nail without any pain or damage. Now, as far as technique is concerned, for power, you want to swing from the elbow. But for control, you want to use your wrist. You also want to let the weight of the hammer do most of the work. You don't want to put all your energy into that swing. Gravity will help you out, trust me. And remember, you want to keep your eyes on the nail, not the hammer. Because if you keep your eyes on the hammer, you'll be doing this. Keep your eyes on the nail when you're swinging. That way, you'll get a direct hit every time. Now, let's just say you miscalculated and you got some nails that were too long for the wood, and this happened. There's a couple of ways to take care of that. Okay, number one, you want to hit the nail that's sticking out from the other side of the wood that you didn't want to stick out. You want to hit it at an angle and force it down into the wood. But you want to make sure that you hit it in the direction of the grain of the wood. Now, as you can see on this piece of wood right here, the grain is running this way. So you want to make sure that you force it down this way or that way. You don't want to force it this way or that way. Now, as you can see, the nail is forced into the direction of the grain of the wood. And you also want to hit it beneath the surface of the wood, like that. That's called clinching the nail. Now, if you need to nail one board perpendicular to another board, there's a technique called toe nailing. So you would place one board perpendicular to the other board like that, Then you would take your nail and start it at about a 60-degree angle into the upright board until it penetrates down into the other board. Now, starting that angle can be pretty tough, so what you can do is drill a pilot hole at an angle, and using a jig or something can help with that. And you can use that pilot hole to start the nail at an angle. That's called toenailing. Okay, so today we talked about the different types of hammers, from ball peen hammers, to framing hammers, to claw hammers. We also learned about hammer safety and how to handle a hammer. So if you learned something about hammers today, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the comment section. Until next time, guys, have a good one.